Goodness gracious, I barely even started and already have pilot error here. I almost stopped the stream before it even started by dropping my notebook on the little keypad once again, trying to stop the stream. I just can't. I can't believe it's Halloween weekend. I have to get a costume. I mean, I have an entire closet of costumes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I can go look at a wardrobe change in a matter of seconds. I mean, there's literally a cedar closet 5 feet away from me that has wardrobe change in it that I could be at least 20 different costumes. I mean, you have to have wardrobe change, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, someone invited me today, another like a Halloween party. I'm like, oh man, that's this weekend. Like that's when it happens because next weekend is November 1st on Saturday, so the 31st on the Friday, and people don't usually have Halloween parties on Halloween, right? Don't ask me. I just work here. How's everybody doing? Good, great, fantastic day. It was a little overcast, a little chilly. Sun came out at the end of the day. Um, my knees bother me, Tan. I don't know what's going on. I either slept on it wrong or, I'm old and I have aches and creaks and pains and all that stuff. I don't know. You tell me. Is that how that works? Scheisse. Anyway, I guess we're going to have an open house for the building on the Sunday at 12:30. So feel free to come down. I guess I'll be there, walking people through an open house so they can look at the fucking disaster that the building is in and pick through the bones of my existence. Yay! And maybe you find something that you want, a bar top or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I have to look forward to on Sunday. Tomorrow, Friday, end of the week for most people. It doesn't look like that for me. I just kind of blend into the weekend because it's work, work, work. But that's what we do, right? I mean, when would we not? So that's, I read the news today. Wow, it's so depressing. So I'll just skim right by that and I'll think about rock and roll music. Any way you choose it. It's a backbeat. You can't lose it. It's only rock and roll to me. Somebody else quoted lines today. We'll get to that eventually. I don't really have much else. Today was fairly uneventful in the grand scheme of things. Nobody crashed into me, so that was always good. My driving was fine. I didn't go for a very long day today, so I didn't really encounter too many crazy people driving. Just the usual, doing 90 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour school zone, or the guy who definitely won the Jackass of the Driving Day award, who went across 3 lanes to get off the exit lane, like weaving in and out in his little Jetta. I was like, bro, really? I was like, unnecessary, just unnecessary. I literally was like, bro, unnecessary, jackass. Anyway, if you had a black Jetta and you were doing that, jackass, seriously, come on, man. You don't need to drive like that. Get somebody killed. Or, you're trying to impress your Mario Andretti skills on somebody. I don't know. Either way, I was not impressed, just so you know. That's it. Let's get into music trivia, or, well, things that happened on this day that were trivial to us now, but not probably to the people at the moment in time when they actually happened. How's that? All right. Episode 145. Welcome to Randsanity. Oh yeah, this is me. Remember the guy in the van? Still here. Still pushing that. I saw that they put out another Heinz Verified with Stephen He, a little short snippet on Instagram. Of course, I'm not included because, I was just the guy in the van. My cameo does not include that kind of prestige, apparently. So, maybe they'll have the bloopers reel. Like I said, they never gave us the best episode where I had lots of star power, but no. Anyway, remember, no particular order. I'm going to go from here to here to here to here to here when it comes to years, just because it's how I find it. Okay? If you don't like it, well, it's chaos. I warned you in the beginning. If you do the description, it's just chaos. So here's more chaos. 1972, Al Green released Billboard Album of the Year, his fifth studio album, I'm Still in Love with You. I've been really listening to lyrics lately. It's some of the songs seem to have such either they're really timeless, I guess, or they really fit the scenario of today. So I find it very interesting listening to some lyrics of songs. I've definitely paid a lot more attention to lyrics in the past, year or so than I ever have previously. I mean, I knew songs and lyrics and sang songs and memorized the lyrics and stuff, but I never really pay attention to the meaning of them sometimes. Some of the song meanings, I think, or at least my interpretation, has changed because I listen to music differently now. It's not a work thing; it's more of a leisure thing. So I listen to music all day long now. For me, it was always odd. So this is something that you may not experience this. Now, for me, because working at the radio station for 30 years, music was constant. It was always on in the background, in the overhead speakers. Always, 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 24/7. It was on in the station. So if you were in the building, music was on. So work had music as the background all the time for meetings and phone calls and you name it. So going to offices or other people's offices when there wasn't music was odd to me. Where people would come to the office and it was odd to them. So I find it odd when there's not music playing in the background at any given moment. So in the car, I'm always listening to music when I'm driving. And when I'm working, I always have music playing and I'll just create a playlist and I'll try and discover stuff. A lot of times I'll look at the stuff that I'm talking about. So it was like, oh, what song is that? And I'll play that song and it'll lead the algorithm of YouTube music, because again, I listen to YouTube music. We'll say, we'll try this one. And sometimes I hear songs like, I've never heard that song before. I was like, oh, that must be, it's from this artist or this album or something, and I'm not familiar with it. For instance, we'll talk about it for a minute, Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix Experience, where he didn't originally record that. That was actually recorded by a band, an LA band called The Leaves. And it's similar, but I mean, obviously Hendrix's version is so much better if you listen to it, because there's this kind of fast and a little bit. I was like, okay, no, I like Jimmy's version much better. But listening to music and the song, the words sometimes seem to have much greater profound meaning than I previously paid attention to. Probably because it was more background music and now it's more foreground music. Anyway, that's my spiel on music. 1975, Elton John, Sir Elton John. The John of Elton receives his Hollywood Walk of Fame star. I don't know where it's located. I didn't look. I just didn't. I dove into some things tonight, but I didn't on others. So there will be, I think, a less volume, but still length, maybe. 1978, 20-year-old Sid Vicious attempts suicide while in Rikers Island Detention Center. Excuse me. Wow, that was violent and I don't know what. As I said, on this date, the 23rd of October 1978, a 20-year-old Sid Vicious attempts suicide while in Rikers Island Detention Center. Sid is there because he was accused and arrested for the murder of his longtime girlfriend, Nancy Spungen, who was found stabbed in their apartment, it was in a hotel room, on October the 12th of 1978. She was killed, on that date. He was, in fact, arrested for it, and trial would begin in January of next year, 79. Rumor has it that potentially that was a drug dealer that did the stabbing, but we never found out. Sid never really went to trial because he died of an overdose at the age of 21. Good old Sid Vicious. 1989, George Harrison, ex-Beatle fame George Harrison, released The Best of Dark Horse, 1976 to 1989. It was a compilation of songs that he had. Now, had some popularity with the Traveling Wilburys, George Harrison, his own writing things. But unfortunately, this one was not a commercial or critical success. It did have a song that was specifically written for the movie Lethal Weapon 2 with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. But it just did not reach critical mass. It did not gain commercial success or critical acclaim of any shape or form. It was kind of panned by critics. They were like, big deal, George. Come on, man. It kind of failed to launch. Harrison continued to put out music until his death, but yeah, that one just didn't make it happen. 2006, see, we went to 72 to 2006 pretty fast. My Chemical Romance released their third album, The Black Parade. That was a really, really good album. If you like My Chemical Romance, I highly recommend listening to The Black Parade. It's a really good one. And it's actually, it's an experimental piece. It's about cancer and death, actually. So it's sort of one of these darker meaning song kind of titled and performed albums. It debuted at number 2 and it sold over 4 million copies, getting quadruple, quadruple, right? Quadruple platinum. It sold 4 million in the U.S. alone, actually. It wasn't just 4 million. It sold like another 3 million in the U.K. The single, Welcome to the Black Parade, went to number 1 on the U.S. chart the following year, 2007. But yeah, really, really good. It had 4 top 40 hits, I believe, out of that. There was 3 others that came out of that album. So it was really good. It was given a lot of acclaim and said to be one of their best and a real turning point for the band when it came to their musical stylings. 2007, Rounder Records release Raising Sun, which is a compilation collaboration with Alison Krauss, who's a bluegrass kind of country singer, and Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant. Plant kind of always had a little bit of bluesiness to him. This collaboration garnered them a number 2 on the U.S. album chart. And Robert Plant continued to play some bluesy stuff in some other avenues with other musicians. Who knew? Mr. Robert Plant of that nature. 2015, Adele, the British pop superstar, released her single, Hello! The song becomes the very first ever to have over 1 million downloads within the first week of a song's release by any musician, male, female, English, British, irrelevant. So Adele holds that record as the first artist ever to have 1 million downloads within the first week of a song release. I don't know if anybody else has, but that's pretty damn good. 2018, on this day, the 23rd of October, the film biopic of Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody, with Rami Malek, premiered in London. Malek would go on to receive the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2019. It was a good movie. I mean, I like Queen, so that helped. But it was a good movie. I mean, if you liked, I mean, you had to kind of look aside Raimi with those teeth, but it was an interesting, I think, a portrayal of Freddie Mercury and how he grew the success of the band, how he raised it, and then his flamboyant and very public lifestyle. 1941, Walt Disney, see, it jumped right there. 2020, I'm going to, I almost skipped right over it. 2020, Bruce Springsteen releases his 20th LP, Letter to You. Now, it's going to get confusing for a second. I had to think about it and then go back and figure it out. Recorded with the E Street Band. He had not recorded the E Street Band since 2014. It was his 21st top 10 album. Now, this is his 20th album, but this was his 21st top 10 album. I was like, wait, how's that possible? Oh, because this was a studio album. It did not include his live albums. So this was his 20th studio album, not including the live albums. So that's how he could have 21 top 10 albums. It also made Bruce the first artist ever, and it'd be probably pretty hard to beat this one, the first artist ever to have a top 5 charting album in each of the last 6 decades. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty impressive that Bruce has that star power. You know, Bruce. Now back to 1941, going from 2020 to 1941. Walt Disney Studios releases the animated feature film Dumbo. Now, it was released and won an Academy Award for Best Score of a Musical Picture. It was a musical picture. Now, it was actually also the shortest Disney animated film. It was 64 minutes. And it was made to take on and finance the failure that Pinocchio was. And there was another one that was in there that didn't make any money either. So that's why they produced Dumbo. They said it would cost like $950,000 to make in 1941, which would cost $20 million today. And it grossed like $1.3 million, which would have been like $35 million today. So at the time, it made like $850,000 gross. So it would have made like almost $20 million today. So I was like, okay, so they were happy then. You know, hey, I'll take $1 million when it's worth $20 million now because the value of things was better. I don't know. But anyway, Dumbo, yes. So that was released on this day in 1941 for the love of God. 2012, 1941 to 2012, just zooming. The 23rd installment of 007 with Daniel Craig is released on this day and premieres in London. The movie is Skyfall with Daniel Craig as James Bond. The next one was delayed because of COVID, if you remember. It was delayed like 18 months because of that. Skyfall was good. You know, I like Daniel Craig. He was a good James Bond. You know, I'm a James Bond kind of fan, you know, seeing the whole Sean Connery James Bond thing. 1961, look, 2012, threw it in there, went back to 1961. Dion started a 2-week run at number 1 in the U.S. with Run Around Sue, number 11 in the U.K. I keep away from a run around Sue. Oh, what? That one. Around Sue. Now, see, this is, I talked about this when it first pegged, and I was like, wait, what? A 12-year-old on tour. Little Stevie Wonder recorded his first single for Motown Records. 12. Out on the road on tour. I was like, okay, was there a chaperone? I mean, come on, man. What? It just seems like exploitation of a child at that point. Isn't that child labor? I mean, I understand it's 1962, but he's a 12-year-old kid. Anyway, recorded his first single for Motown Records. Thank You for Loving Me All the Way. It was backed by the Funk Brothers. But yeah, we talked about he was on the road. He went as like a Motown showcase out on the road with all these bands at 12. I just don't know. We don't have 12-year-olds going on the road anymore. I mean, shit, we don't even have 12-year-olds outside playing anymore because people are afraid to let their kids outside. They're not feral children, as I was, in fact, a feral child, is what you would refer to. Um, we pretty much were released in the morning and not to be seen until the streetlights came back on. Oddly enough, I don't think I've ever said this growing up. My parents, because I had a very big backyard. I lived near a school, an elementary school, which had a creek and had trees and I don't know, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 10 acres of woods and land of all the neighbors' houses. So we'd be out in the thing. Both myself and my neighbors' mothers had bells. Yes, when it was time to come in, they would open the back door and ring the bell. And that meant get your ass in the house. Now, the lights are dark, whatever, but, get your ass in the house. And they were distinct bells. The one my mother had was this brass kind of higher pitched, and the neighbors had one that was more like a cowbell type thing. But you could hear it for a very long distance, and you kind of knew what that was. It was kind of, whatever you were in the middle of it, the bell rang, your ass had to turn around and head home immediately because you were already in trouble if you were having the bell rung for you. That's one of those things that I don't know if it just was such part of childhood that it was just, the thing, the bell. I know, that's just crazy crap, right? It just is. So, let's see, what are we going to go to? Let's go to this channel because I got to touch the camera. That way it won't be turning off. And I remembered everything tonight. I got a good jump on it. I saved the fade to black from the camera doing it on its own. The water pump isn't going to go off because I turned that off. I have my liquid, but I moved it enough so I'm not going to spill it. I put hand cream on so my hands aren't all... Oh, gross. Ew. Look at this thing. I got a blister in the middle of my palm. From work. Nothing more. Anyway, 12-year-old Stevie Wonder recorded his first Motown record. Yes, we went into that. 1963, the Beatles completed their final session of their second album with the Beatles, a recording I Want to Be Your Man. The group, now this is all happens in one day, okay? Finish the song, and then the group drives to the airport. I'm sure they didn't drive themselves, but they drove to the airport as opposed to, how else do you get to the airport? Walk to the airport? Fly to the airport? Kangaroo to the airport? Anyway, they drove to the airport in London and then flew to a gig they were going to perform in Stockholm, Sweden. Now, this was their start of their very first foreign tour as well. When the Fab Four got to Stockholm, they were met by hundreds and hundreds of screaming, adoring fans who had skipped class. I mean, skipped class, went to the airport because the band was flying in so that this groupies could get a glance and a chance to see their new musical idols, the Beatles. I mean, I've never done that. I've never gone somewhere to see an artist kind of come and go in. The closest that ever got to that, and this is the closest I ever got to that was when I went to the opening of Planet Hollywood. That happened at Easton Town Center. And when I got there, I somehow got shuffled on, just don't ask, I got somehow shuffled onto the red carpet and walked down between Kelsey Grammer and Sylvester Stallone, like waving to people as in the street, like they were, like there was this procession. I just somehow, and then followed them and Schwarzenegger into this little like room at Planet Hollywood because I was on the carpet, and it was just kind of like security was like, okay. So, because I was dressed, in my normal, I would always wear my black sport coat. So, dressed in my normal garb with my long hair, and I just kind of looked the role. And I was there for like half an hour talking to people until finally someone from security was like, "Do you belong here?" And I'm like, "Hi." They're like, "You don't, do you?" And I was like, "Maybe." Okay, we gotta go. But yes, so that was I went there to go for something for the opening, but that was about as close as I've ever been to, waiting for a band to paparazzi type thing. So that's the closest. 1963, Bob Dylan. This is the lyrics. Bob Dylan recorded "The Times They Are a Changing" at the Columbia Studios in New York City. Dylan wrote the song as a deliberate attempt, he said, deliberate, to create an anthem of change for the time. The song was influenced by Irish and Scottish ballads. Now, in January of 1984, a young Steve Jobs would recite the second verse of the song. He used it during his 1984 Apple shareholders meeting when he announced the Macintosh computer for the very first time. So that was one of the things when I went back and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to "The Times They Are Changing." So I listened to it, read the lyrics, and was just like, okay, interesting. So it's just, again, a lot of artists have a lot of very deeper meanings to their lyrics. So this is just one of those incidences that I was like, interesting. Very interesting how the lyrics are deliberately written the way he did. It wasn't just sort of coincidental. He intentionally did that. Oh, now here's a total Final Destination moment. All right. I've not really watched those movies. I've caught a little bit of them, but I kind of know what the concept is. So this is definitely one of those things. All right. Final Destination for sure. 1964. All four members of the U.S. band, ready for this one? Buddy and the Kings, were killed when a hired Cessna Seahawk crashed, piloted by the drummer Bill Davies. Now, the singer Harold Box had replaced Buddy Holly in the band The Crickets shortly after the death of Buddy Holly in a plane crash. He sang lead vocals on Peggy Sue Got Married, The Great Gig in the Sky. So the guy that replaced Buddy Holly in the band The Crickets, that Buddy Holly was the lead singer for, died in a plane crash as well, along with the rest of the band. Okay. Apparently the Crickets were going to die one way or another. They didn't die with Buddy Holly, but they didn't make it much longer. They went too. So something was going on with the band The Crickets, and it didn't matter who was standing there next to him. You're going if you were getting a plane with them, apparently. So, yeah, that one I just found. I was like, that is like Final Destination moment right there. Hey, love, you're with the Crickets, right? We're going to kill you. And you're dead, Buddy Holly, in a plane crash. Oh, wait, the Crickets didn't die? Oh, who are you? Okay, yeah, we're still after the Crickets. So, jeez. 1966, the Jimi Hendrix Experience recorded "Hey Joe," their first. De La Lane Studios in London, the earliest known commercial recording of the song in the U.S., and this is what I said, was by the band The Leaves. They were a garage band out of L.A. The track is recorded in late 1965, commercially released in 1966 as a follow-up single, which became a hit. For them, The Leaves. And then Hendrix recorded it and again played it in 1966. But if you go listen to it, you can just, YouTube it or Spotify. I don't know if they'll have it. But it's The Leaves, Hey Joe. And it's a much faster pace and a little bit different tempo. I didn't like it as much at all. Because then I went back and listened to the Hendrix version. I'm like, oh yeah, I like the Hendrix version a lot more. It's a lot slower. I think it has a lot stronger build. It's the same song. The composition's very much the same, but it definitely has a different tempo, and a much liked version is the Jimi Hendrix version. The band Chicago started a 2-week run at number one on the singles chart with If You Leave Me Now. If you leave me now, you'll take away a simple part of me. Woo! That song. The group's 18th top 40, but it was their first number one in the US and the UK. It went on to win a Grammy for Best Pop Vocals of that year. 1976, Led Zeppelin made their first US TV appearance ever on Don Kirshner's rock concert. Totally forgot about Don Kirshner's rock concert. He had like all these things. He was this dude that would like have bands on. So he was sort of a talk show host, but it was only specifically for bands. Not like, hey, I've got Actors and we're also going to bring a band out. He just did bands. They sang Dazed and Confused and Black Dog. There you go. Don Kirshner's rock concert, 1976 for Led Zeppelin. That's when they played. That's when they debuted. And 1976 also, the band The Jam played an afternoon show at the Soho Market in London, England. And in the evening, The Clash opened and appeared at the ICA in London, England. I don't know what that referred to at all. It just was one of the things there. It was kind of a space filler because I was like, oh, The Clash. Oh, The Jam. But I was like, I don't know what the relevance is that the one played in the Soho Market in the afternoon, and because I didn't know what the hell the ICA was. Sorry. I was like, I don't know what it is. 1980, Mark David Chapman. Do we know that name? Yes, we do. Quit his job as a security personnel and signed out for the last time. Instead of his usual Chappie, that was his signature, he signed John Lennon. Creepy. Mark David Chapman would unfortunately go on to assassinate and kill, shooting John Lennon outside of his home and killing him on December the 8th of that same year, 1980. So I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He clearly was obsessed with John Lennon, signing his name when he left instead of Chappie, which again is kind of a jackass name anyway. I'm Mark David Chapman, Chappie. 1982, Culture Club went to number one on the UK singles chart with Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? Now, we talked about how they suddenly got this rise to fame because they had a TV debut a few weeks ago, well, a few weeks earlier in 1982. It was their first chart topper, and it was the first of 12 UK Top 40 songs that came out from Culture Club. The song became a major hit after their TV debut on Top of the Pops. If you remember, they were a last-minute replacement because Shakin' Stevens, was it? Yeah, Shakin' Stevens was sick. So they subbed them in at the last minute, and they had, I guess, this. I still haven't looked for it. I'm going to do it right when we're done. A very memorable show appearance, and apparently took a lot of people aback and were like, oh, wow, these guys are great. We love this song. Because, again, it was also shown to millions of people on that show, Top of the Pops, where Shakin' Steve was not there. 1989, Nirvana played their first ever European show when they appeared at Newcastle Riverside Club in northeast England. This was their first of 36 date European tour, where they shared the bill with the band TAD, T-A-D. Now, if you really want to get a laugh, go to Wikipedia and put in T-A-D band, and then look at the band photo. I was like, bro, whoa, you definitely have like way too much angst. Apparently they didn't last but another year. I had never heard of them before, but just, you got to go look at the picture. It's so worth it. I was just like, I was like, wow, you are such a jackass. I can tell. Just that picture is just, it is worth all of it. Okay. You know, I don't know what TAD stands for. Total asshole dude. I mean, wow. Yeah, but feel free. Wikipedia, TAD band. And take a look at that band photo. It is just way too much. Way too much. The guy is way too full of himself. Smile once in a while. That's all I'm telling you. All right. 1993, Meatloaf had its first UK number one. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. It stayed at number one for 7 weeks. And then it was number one in over 30 countries and number one in the U.S. Called Meatloaf. Who knew? I remember the Bat Out of Hell album. That was a really good album. One of those things that you kind of listened to until the needle was melted into the grooves. 1995, Def Leppard joined the Guinness Book of World Records Club by playing 3 gigs on 3 continents in a 24-hour period. Apparently they played Tangiers, London, and then Vancouver. So, African continent, European continent, North America. So they could do that. It's just flying. But yeah, 3 gigs, 3 continents, 24 hours. And that's all with only 1 arm. I don't know. Was it before or after that? I don't remember the exact date when he lost his arm, the drummer. Flipped his car over, I believe. I think that was what happened. Flipped his car over and lost his arm that way. I mean, it's not what you need to do when you're a drummer. But anyway. Arctic Monkeys scored their first UK number one single. I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. NME's best track of 2006. We had Arctic Monkeys into the radio station. I specifically remember the first time because the lead singer came in. He was not in a great mood because he had just broken his sunglasses, his pair of Ray-Ban aviators. And was talking, and I said, oh, well, let me see those. I'll see what I can do. And of course, me, being me, I went downstairs into engineering and dug out a eyeglass repair kit and fired up the soldering gun. I went ahead and soldered the little piece that had broken on the edge of his glasses that still had the screw in it. It actually soldered really easily. And put the thing back in. I was like, hey, here's your glasses back. And he was just like, this is great. And then it was just smooth sailing from there. They had like the best time in the big room and hung out and, were all chatty and everything else like that. That's the way it goes sometimes. They just, you're having a crappy day and just simple things like, fixing someone's broken sunglasses or getting the artist a straight mic stand instead of a angled one can make all the difference in the world. So that's what you got to do. You got to try and make people happy some days. That's all we can do, right? Because nobody else is doing it. Born on this day, Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah, I actually like some of his songs. They're kind of funny, I'm definitely not a Weird Al, devotee. But there's definitely some songs that I think are funny. You gotta laugh at some of the parody songs. Born on this day, also Johnny Carson. Tonight Show Johnny Carson. Michael Crichton, the author, The Andromeda Strain, a bunch of other stuff. As far as authors go, I'm a fan. I definitely like that sci-fi stuff that he writes about. There was one, I forget the name of it, but it was basically about nanobots, nanoparticles that climbed. It overtook sort of what your body, and it made you sort of like shimmered, and you were perfect. But the problem was you were dying underneath it because you were just covered in these nanobots. I forget the name of that book now, but it was really good. It was just one of these things I just forget. It happens. And lastly, born on the day, Ryan Reynolds, 49 years old, Ryan Reynolds. actor Ryan Reynolds. I I heard he's not funny in real life. That he's kind of a jackass. I mean, that's what he's seen sometimes. People that are funny are kind of asses. I mean, I'm an ass. We know that. I'm neither funny nor that, but I'm definitely an ass as well. So, just saying. Um, as far as deaths go, I did not find any um, of great note. I did unfortunately find out that a friend of mine's wife passed away, and that's very sad. I just was kind of like, I'm still kind of not processed it completely because I'm like, really? I'm kind of like, she wasn't that old. They have a son. I'm sad for their son. And my friend, I just literally saw as I like skimmed across Facebook. I was like, what? Like, holy crap. So I texted him. I haven't heard back. I don't know if I will, but right away. But yeah, just, you never know. It's the way it works, right? We're just here today and gone tomorrow. On that note, I am still here, and this is today. And I will be here as far as I know and not gone tomorrow. And it'll be Friday night, the 24th. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to these parties now. I've been invited to a bunch of things, so I don't know. We'll just see. I may have to do a wardrobe change for Halloween. I'm thinking about that now, that maybe I'll have to do a wardrobe change for Halloween, at least on the 31st. I don't know if I'll do it before that. You never know. On that note, that's me, still here, still hawking it. Come on, Heinz, or Sharpie. Come on, Sharpie sponsorship. Look, right there. See, I always have a Sharpie in my pocket, literally. Because I write on stuff all the time. I mean, things that probably shouldn't be written on sometimes, but sorry. A great Thursday, a better Friday, and nothing but gratefulness and gratitude. That's the words right there. Gratefulness and gratitude. Because why not? Because if we're not at least grateful for what we have, trust me, never say it can't get any worse. It can. Promise. Thank you. Love you all. Be well. See you tomorrow. Fade to black. Yes, we never say those words for a reason.